Hey, how are you? John from Dowie Farm. I just want to go over basic stacking and just cover some basics here. I get a lot of questions about some things, and I'm just going to go from the bottom of the stack to the top of the stack. Now, normally I would only go with a two-tray stack. I would go like a brassica salad ingredient and then a topper. In this case, this is going to be cilantro. Toppers are things like arugula, leeks, chervil, herbs, a lot of different herbs, shiso, things like that. My basil, my cilantro, celery, sorrel, amaranth, all these are toppers, okay? And all these are my salad ingredients for the most part, brassicas, things like that, purple cabbage, kohlrabi, blue kale, stuff like that. And then I have my soak seeds usually are what I go on the bottom, or radish, okay? So it's peas and sunflower and then radish. Beets are a middle or a top. I'm not great at beets, so I'm not gonna give a lot of advice on that. So what I have going on here is I have a layer of radish underneath, okay, on the bottom here. And I'm going to do this for like a day, and then I'm probably going to come back tomorrow. See, I got radish there, Sango. And I'm probably going to pull these two off and then do a topper on this layer. But you can go 3, all right, especially if you're doing all this perlite like I do, because there's enough aeration in there. So the basics of stacking, let's get to that, is it's going to give you even growth. Now that's why you see certain things when you see my microgreens growing here. Look at this sorry, I'm drawing a blank, borage. And you see it's nice and even, and that's because it just grew evenly because it was being pressed down, and it didn't have an opportunity to go ahead and go nuts. Now this grew evenly too, this cilantro, but that's because I have a whole different process for that. And sometimes it will grow pretty even, you know, without a stack, but you're just applying that natural pressure, and it is better. It does create just a better growing crop. I've grown sunflowers without a stack and peas and that's a bottom layer crop, and they just go all wonky on me. Like I have sunflower going here, and it just creates like a natural layer of protection here, or of pressure. Sorry, wrong P word. And you'll see I have a pretty even crop there. And it also, a lot of this stuff needs to stay wet, obviously, while it germinates. I'll get a lot of people that ask me questions about why isn't my sunflower germinating correctly. And then when I ask them how they're growing it, they're not stacking it. They're doing this to it. Or bringing it to the next thing is these paper towels that are so important to keep your crops from drying out, okay? These paper towels are acting as a top dirt layer is what they're doing, and that's keeping your seeds dark and keeping them wanting to come up and look for light, and it's also keeping them from drying out. And it's very important to have that little paper towel layer there to pretend it's a dirt layer. A lot of people miss that step too, and they tell me that they're having problems with germinating sunflower and things like that, and peas, and they don't have that paper towel on there, and their edges are drying out and things like that. Now remember, this is grooved. There is a lot of airspace. You can see, sorry, you can see if I get closer, you can see there's a lot like there, you know, a lot of movement there. There's a lot of air going through there, amazingly enough, and that will just dry out, and any level of too much dry out will make it so your seeds are not going to germinate correctly, or they're going to germinate unevenly, and they're just not going to grow the right way. And you're going to have second growth, I like to call it, where you have one round of the seeds that germinated well, some maybe dried out, then once they get wet, then they come up, and you have 2 different sizes. So you'll get, you know, a double growth, and then that second growth will rot, and you don't want that, obviously. Please excuse my shakiness of the camera here, because my thing that I bought to make it steady just is not working, so I'm just on the old school tripod, and every time I move, the camera moves, and I know that sucks, and I'm really trying to figure out how to make this thing focus in better, but it is what it is. But anyhow, here at the end of this video, I'm going to put up a graphic that is your toppers, middles, and bottoms, okay? Anything that's a bottom can always be a middle, or, you know, it wouldn't be a middle because you'd be going with 2 in your stack, right? So you would have peas and then a topper, or sunflower then a topper, or radish then a topper, instead of like sunflower, peas, or radish on the bottom, and then a layer of brassicas and then a topper. You can do either one, usually. I just like to not do that if I don't have to, okay? So if I have a situation where I have room, I will just do 1 layer and then a topper, and that's it, and it just seems to work out better. I think it's because you get better airflow. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what it is. So don't forget, Good soil mix is huge, okay, in order to be able to stack. What your bottom, middle, and top layers are, and the paper towels are very important. And if you're doing my 50-50 perlite, you don't have to be scared to saturate that soil on most crops. Now, I do crop instructionals, and I talk about saturation levels in each one usually, so follow those. But as a general rule of thumb, you're going to be wet to an uncomfortable level, right? It seems like it's a ton that you're doing here. It just seems like a lot of times you're soaking it in it. But it is totally what you want. So just to recap, bottom, middle, toppers are all going to be different. Some things can handle the pressure, some things handle some pressure, and then some things handle no pressure. And then paper towels are very important. I don't put paper towels on my top layer, okay? So my basils and stuff, just because they stick to it so bad. Any of my topper, things like that, I don't put paper towels on it. But I dome it with a dome with some holes for a little ventilation, and every day I come by and I miss that. And it is a lot of maintenance, and if you can figure out a better way, that's great, but that's what I'm doing for now. I did try Vermiculite for a long time, and it just didn't seem to work out, okay? And I ran out, and I can't seem to source the right size Vermiculite now. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going through every day, and I'm misting. Real quick mist, not a big deal. Sometimes I miss a day, so if you need to take a day off or whatever, it's not the end of the world, but be aware of what you're doing, because those cilantro seeds will dry out pretty quick, and you don't want that to happen. Anyway, that's basics on stacks, how to stack, the components of stacking, where we stack everything, and why. So I just want to go through and cover a lot of basics here with you guys on these videos. I'm a little tired. That's what my eyes are. Everybody always accuses me of being stoned. I've never smoked in my life, actually, which is kind of funny that everybody thinks I'm high all the time. But it's really just because I got up this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that, or 7, and I busted ass all day, and now it's 4 a.m. So, and I'm going to go home and I'm going to sleep for 4 hours and get up and do it again. It's a good time, guys. Thanks very much. We all are insane because we figured out how to farm 24 hours. So, good times, man. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.